are encouraged.
Can we get a cup of coffee in here, please?
Damn good coffee and hot.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with the Dog. You make me laugh.
Oh, I don't know. I just don't know. I feel like I forgot to share this. I feel like I forgot to do that. Anyway, let's see. Anyway, yeah, we're waiting for the music, and then we'll fucking play this. The music takes longer to end. Good morning, folks, and welcome to the technically challenged Coffee with the Dog program. Today might be even more technically challenged. Look like GD's up back on the phone there instead of on a computer. Willie's always got technical problems, and I got the flu and no brain whatsoever. So it could be a real, this could be one for the books, really off the tracks mess of a show. Anyway, it's great to have you here. It is, what is it? It's Thursday, January 4th, 2024. And you can stop saying Happy New Year. The Epstein list is out, and it's pretty much a nothing burger. Of course, you wouldn't know that if you're on Twitter, and I'm on Twitter, and people are claiming there's stuff in there that's not in there. Both Trump and Bill Clinton are listed in there, but not connected to any wrongdoing. Yeah, I went there. I went to his mansion. We were working on a Miss Universe pageant, but that's all. It was all work related. So it's a nothing burger because there's nothing really that we didn't know before. Alan Dershowitz, of course, is accused of raping a 13-year-old girl, and many times, like not just once. And his response to that is, you must be a terrorist sympathizer, because why aren't you condemning the rapes of Hamas? Really? I don't know really how to wrap my head around this. The guy is listed in there as accused of multiple rapes of 13-year-old children, and his response is, well, why aren't you complaining about Hamas raping children? That might work for stealing candy from the candy jar. Why are you talking about him doing it? But when it comes to raping 13-year-old children, or any age children, or anybody, even adults, when it comes to rape, why do you look at him? It's not an excuse that's going to work. I don't know if anything's going to happen to him. He won't be prosecuted. So we didn't really find out anything useful. It was like a couple of weeks of anticipation for the biggest nothing burger in memory. Anyway, this time next year, well, we just did a year-end recap. And thinking back to the first week of January 2023, some of the stories were not that memorable. You had to scratch your head. Oh, yeah, now I remember that stuff. This one is going to be one of those, like, well, what the fuck was that all about? The voice was shot. Anyway, we have a very weird show for you today. I am very much under the weather. I got up just thinking, I can't wait to go back to bed. That's what I'm thinking about. Now, I am a pussy. Let's be clear about that. When I get sick, I'm the biggest complainer. Uh, Listen, if it were a real disease, when I had a stroke and I was back playing uh, with the band that weekend, those kind of things. But colds and flus and COVID, I'm the world's biggest pussy for. And I don't like when my brain feels foggy and my brain feels foggy. So that's my complaint. Um, for a Christmas present, one of my wife's Christmas presents this year, I got her a non-lethal weapon. What? It's not the only Christmas present I got her. I got her a non-lethal weapon. Turns out it's a lightning arc stun gun. Is how it was advertised. Basically, she was coming out of nursing homes, not anymore, but she was coming out of nursing homes late at night, and she felt a little insecure because getting out at midnight and look around, and she's all alone. And so I got her this thing to feel a little more secure, and so she doesn't have to carry a gun, a lethal weapon. This is a non-lethal weapon, a stun gun. Turns out, I didn't look at it. I just gave it to her as one of her presents on Christmas. Turns out it says on the box, barbecue lighter. I shit you not. It's a barbecue lighter that you can use as a weapon. It's a stun gun. Okay. She doesn't know how to use it. She's kind of afraid to use it. But then yesterday or the day before, another one came in the mail. The company sent another one after Christmas, and I got it. And I figured, yeah, all right, I'll keep it. And here's what it looks like. This is it, and it's a little. It looks like a vape. There's a little button on there. Vape. That's what you. So I turned it on. See, that's how you turn it on, and then you. Oh, look, it's out of juice. Oh no, it's on, and then yeah, and that if you had your skin in front of that, you'd see a little lightning arc come out and bolt it. But turns out I wasn't prepared, and I zapped myself really, really good. I tell you, it would stop me. It would stop me. I could probably use a zap today just to get back in the swing of things and get through the show. Later on in the program, Bailey Pope was a New York-based comedian, writer, and pigeonholed actress providing the overly tattooed failed rock star transgender woman comedy that you really want. Yes, you heard all that right. So it should be a good show, especially since I'm working on Half a Brain. The gentlemen are here. Let's bring them in and say hello, good morning, and all that kind of stuff. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
How are you?
Great. Can you hear me good today?
Yes.
Great. Go ahead, GD.
It's a shocker.
Oh, it's a shocker. Ha ha ha. Mind Dog Coffee cures everything except for what you have right now. Mind Dog Coffee.
Yeah, that's right. Now, how do I turn this on again? I can't. But you don't want to. You don't want to get these if you don't know how to use it. Probably. Yeah,
I was just wondering when you started messing with it. I was like, oh, this is gonna be great. He's gonna shock himself, and knock himself out before he even brings us in.
That would be good.
That's totally what I was expecting.
That would,
so that's a barbecue lighter, also.
That's what it really is. They
okay. So
I guess, but
so instead of settings like stun and stuff, it says like rotisserie.
No, there's no. It just looks like a vape pen with a button on it. When you hit the button and the shocker thing.
It looks like something my wife would hurt herself with. Is what it looks like. That's definitely.
Yeah.
So technically, if let's say I designed a quote gun, but it didn't shoot bullets, it shot love pellets, and I called it a Cupid gun. No, a Cupid projectile. I could sell it and it not be a gun because I'm not calling it a gun, even though it serves all the purposes of a gun, kind of like
as long as your pellets are heart shaped, I think you'll be okay.
I'm not sure about any of that stuff. This what it feels
well, if that's not a stun gun, but it's I mean you know what I'm saying, it's being sold as a barbecue accessory, but it's a stun gun.
We don't have to call it what it is.
Yeah, so I can make Cupid projectiles and just saying they're in love, they're in love, they're in love. So,
have you seen the commercials on Facebook or whatever, or online? The commercials for these things. The woman's getting attacked, and she pulls this out, and a bit in the commercials, like a lightning bolt that goes 20 feet comes out. That's not what this is. That's what I thought it was. And when she opened it and it said barbecue lighter, I was like, oh, geez, did they send me the wrong thing? I didn't even look at it. Barbecue lighter? What's this all about, barbecue lighter? I don't know how it would be used to light a barbecue. I don't want to.
Well, depends on the flash point. I don't know what the flash point of the lighter fluid, if you're using lighter fluid, or if you're using like a gas grill, propane. I don't know what the flash point is. But if the arc of that reaches that flash point, then it will ignite the gas and or your propellant, your lighter fluid.
I can see that.
Right. So it depends on the temperature of that and the flash point of whatever it is you're lighting.
So
like
you put it on paper. Barbecue lighters that you just click and a flame comes out. That's not good enough.
It depends. There's some materials that even though they're flammable, a lighter will not light if the flame on the lighter is not high enough.
Right.
But barbecue, I would think everything you put in a barbecue that's going to be a fuel source is flammable.
yeah, you would think that. But I'm just there are some things that even though they're flammable and even though there's fire, they're not going to light with the fire. There's rules. There's science rules.
Wow.
Science and stuff.
Did you guys look at the Epstein list at all?
No, I didn't know it came out until you said it, bro.
Right.
No, I was exhausted. I got my hair done yesterday, so I'm tired. Yeah,
I did too. I got my hair done yesterday too. I was sleeping all day because I was sick. I got up like a half hour before the show this morning and just quickly looked through it. It's 100 pages long. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say I've read the entire thing, but it doesn't appear there's any new information in there whatsoever. It's like, well, they started talking about this thing 2 weeks ago, getting people all like, oh yeah, they're going to release it. Turns out all this stuff was released in 2019. Like, all right. Thanks for the wasting my time. And getting us all. But Twitter is now, it's even more activated on this stuff now. They're just saying shit that's just not true. They're saying they got Clinton. People claiming they got Clinton raping young girls in the documents. None of that. Other people are saying they got Trump raping young girls in the document. None of that. So it's just a bunch of and other people. I don't know if you knew about the Jimmy Kimmel, Aaron Rodgers thing. Aaron Rodgers came out and said Jimmy Kimmel would be on the list. Jimmy Kimmel fired back and called him an asshole, and he's going to sue him. Jimmy Kimmel's not on the list, or neither is Tom Hanks. Not on those names.
Okay, good.
Okay,
so I can watch Castaway again.
I can keep my Voight volleyball or whatever it is.
Yeah, all those rumors about people in Hollywood and stuff, Rob Reiner and all those people, all untrue. None of them are in there. It's all financiers, bankers, politicians, and stuff like that. And nothing new. Nothing new. But Dershowitz claimed, this is fucking bizarre. It comes out Dershowitz is the one most incriminated in these documents. It said Epstein forced a 13-year-old girl to have sex with Alan Dershowitz. Now, if you look at Alan Dershowitz, that's got to be the fucking most horrible fucking experience any person could ever have, is to be forced to have sex with Alan Dershowitz. But his comeback, I'm kidding you not, his comeback is, where are all the feminists complaining about the Hamas raping?
Yeah, that's like the worst. Like, why would you? But they're doing it too. You know what I mean?
Again, that would
fuck?
work for
Fucking-
I stole candy from the candy jar.
Yeah, that's some playground bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, what in the fuck kind of defense is that, bro? That's not.
Dershowitz would have been better off saying, "Look, I'm sorry, I'm dyslexic. I thought she was 31." No, that would have been
honestly, I would find that to be a better fucking response than.
Right, yeah.
But what about these people that are doing the same shit or were? You know what I mean? Like, that's not the fucking stick, bro.
You must.
That's not the stick by which we measure right and wrong.
Yeah. The other part of it, my grandson is about 13 years old. He's going to be 13 this month. I don't know. I just can't imagine anybody being turned on by a 13-year-old girl, an adult man.
No, that's some dude. One of the most difficult things I went through in prison. So I was a deacon in the church for a while I was in prison, and part of what that meant is I did one-on-one counseling with other inmates under like the loose supervision of my pastor or whatever. But like, you know, a lot of the church-going fellows in prison are sex offenders. Like, there's a lot of sex offenders that kind of hide in the church or, you know, seek out that, you know, forgiveness or whatever. And, you know, some of them that's genuine and heartfelt or whatever. But like, I counseled people that tried to tell me things like a 6-year-old came on to them. You know what I mean? And that's some hard shit to listen to. Like, that's one of the hardest things you'll ever fucking hear. And have to have the kind of heart where you show compassion and forgiveness towards this person, especially being a victim of that kind of shit myself. Like, that was some hard shit to sit through, and it's actually part of why I stopped doing some of those things. It's because I had to talk to the pastor, like, bro, I can't have these conversations because I'm gonna freak out one of these days.
You have to define what the word "things" is attached to, because you said you have. That's why you stopped doing some of those things. Do you mean molesting small people or listening to?
No, I meant counseling. I meant counseling.
Okay,
counseling the molesters.
I'm just saying, you just can't put that out there. You have to define what the thing is.
Yeah, no. Yeah, contextually, I can see how you would like some clarification.
Yeah, that's why I'm a humorist and not a comedian.
That's why I stopped doing some of that stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. So you need to clarify that. Otherwise, I'm going to mark that with a B, and it's going to become a clip.
Right. Yeah, real fucking quick. Yeah, I gotta stop fucking these kids. Hey, you know, I gotta stop fucking these kids. You know,
or I don't have to stop. I just have to stop getting caught.
Oh my god,
that's what that sounds like. You know, like I have to stop getting caught doing that. Wow.
Right. Well, no, yeah, dude, it was. I'll never forget it. Like, I had to tell that dude, like, it was the last day I did counseling. I was like, I don't think I'm cut out for this, boss. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, I can't sit here and listen to motherfuckers tell me this kind of shit because I got to see them in the cell hall and fucking function normally around here. And I can't be hearing that shit.
Well, what occurs to me, and listen, this is not a put down on you, but I know you could take it that way. But I would think somebody a whole lot more qualified than you would be needed to try to humanize these fucking people who think 6-year-olds can come on to them. I don't think and I don't think 20 years of psychiatric training prepares you for that kind of
Yeah, I wasn't ready to hear that shit. I was not ready to hear that shit in the least. But I will say that I'm proud of how I handled myself in the situation because I was infuriated. I was absolutely enraged, but I calmly let him know like that's not a proper way of thinking, and you need to never say that to me again.
Sounds like one of those things where they like, who do we got to fly the plane? We don't really have a pilot. It's Willie. It's Willie to fly the plane.
But hey, listen, I'd give it a crack. You know, I would. You know, I'd be on that. I'd be on that headset, be like, "Come on, Tower, tell me how to land this bitch."
I have no doubt that you would. I really have.
Willie has an extensive paper airplane collection. Let him fly the plane.
Right. Yeah. I slept in the Holiday Inn Express last night. Yeah. Let me fucking get this shit.
Oh man, yeah. Maybe it's good that I'm a little bit foggy today because this is already a weird show. But so that was the big news that came out yesterday, and I was like, you know what? We've reached a time where here I go, sounding like an old man that I am. But when I was a kid, if you got caught with your hand in the cookie jar, you would fess up and say, I got caught red-handed. I'm taking a cookie. Now it's I didn't know it was a cookie jar. I thought it was free manicure. I was just putting my hand in there to get a free manicure. It's like nobody ever confesses and says, "You got me."
Right.
But
I did.
But here's the rub. Here's the rub. Usually, it's when poor people were caught doing crimes, they were like encouraged to tell on their other friends and stuff like that. It's when rich people got caught, they started covering up and helping their rich friends say, well, is it really rape if the person was expecting a payoff in 20 years when they sued me? They started. So, and then poor people started going, wait a second. If rich people can lie like that, why can't I? Stitches get stitches.
Right.
But
wait, you mean nobody tells the truth?
Right. Well, it just seems to me that denial will go all the way to I'm thinking about Dershowitz now. I mean, there's all this stuff, and basically people will keep denying it no matter what, and keep trying to come up with an excuse, or try to say, well, it's not, night is day and day is night and all that kind of stuff, and never once. I mean, if you're caught red-handed, you're caught with a smoking gun in your hand, standing over the body. It's time to confess. But no, people do not confess anymore. They never say, "Okay, I'm guilty."
You need to listen to more Eminem because him and Dre stood next to the house with the gas can and the lighter and still weren't found out. You know that, right?
No, I did not know that.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. No. We'll light this shit on fire, stand here with the gas can and be like, I don't know what you're talking about. like that's what people of today do.
Yeah.
Wasn't me.
Wasn't me. Exactly. Wasn't me. Yeah.
Right.
Caught me red-handed, but I would you didn't see that. That's the welcome to America, the gaslighting capital of the world.
Right. Unbelievable. Now Tracy's dog has gotten already like 8 people signing up for the tester program. And the tester I forgot to mention that it's limited. Not everybody can get in. If they're gonna get inundated with people who just want free sex toys, and you don't get to choose the sex toy that you want. For the tester purposes, it's for whatever they're looking to get reviews on this month. So you don't get to say, "Oh, I want to be in a tester. I want that vagina, whatever."
I want the Black Max 9700.
Yeah, no, listen, they got some next level shit on that site though. Like I perused that site a little bit and I was just like, some of this would completely nullify a person's need for the opposite sex. Like,
wow,
I swear to dude, like there's some of them that'll suck you, fuck you, and turn you inside out. It's fucking crazy. The stuff they got on that fucking site.
No,
I was highly impressed.
I have a line that I use in my comedy, and that is, I do not have any secrets from my wife, but I just have stuff I don't tell her. And that website is one of those things that I'm never going to go visit because I never want to have to explain. It's not that I'm ashamed of any of the stuff that's on there. I do not feel like taking the time to explain to my wife why I was researching that, even for comedy.
Yeah.
Okay, so like I said, I don't have any secrets from her. I just have shit I don't tell her, and one of those is going to be that website exists.
Yeah,
and I'm never going there.
I'm not going to show it to my wife either. I'm just going to pull out one of these apparatuses.
But you and I have two different reasons.
We're about to change our lives.
Right.
I'm not telling my wife because I don't feel like explaining those things. You're not telling your wife because you don't feel like buying those things.
No. I want to surprise her. I want to buy it and surprise her with it. That's what I want to do. I want to just want to pull it out of a box one day and be like, now look what the adventure is going to be, baby.
I'd be a little bit worried. I don't know. I'm old school. I'm too old school. I'm dead school. That's what I am. I'm dead school.
You're dead school.
But that the Trump, because Trump came out with a statement saying that all his meetings with Epstein were business, And it kind of reminded me of Pete Townsend, the Who guitarist. You know, you remember when he got caught basically being on all these child porn sites, and he said it was just research. He was doing just research. What the research has never amounted to anything. He never followed through on the. He never wrote a book about it, did a movie about it, and never came out with published a study. What was the research?
Well, he was trying to do the sequel to Pinball Wizard, and it's hard. It's kind of hard to top Pinball Wizard, so you have to go deep. You have to, and it turns out he couldn't top it. He just gave up.
Okay, but then he never finished it. He never followed up on it and never put anything out that was the big child porn.
He may have all these great lyrics. He may have all these great child porn lyrics, but just cannot come up with the right guitar riff to accompany it.
It was a long time, probably 20 years ago now, that he got caught with that stuff.
Yeah, it takes a while to come up with a good guitar riff to accompany child porn.
Research. It was all research. Yes. Now, there's a link in the description for Tracy's dog, by the way. I like that they call it Tracy's dog. I don't know where they came up with that name from.
Probably because the dog used to always use her dildos as chew toys.
Was Tracy fucking her dog? This is one now.
Oh, yeah. Tracy's dog is a fan of peanut butter. That could be. That could be.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? What do I mean? How do you know what? I'm not going to explain it to you. If you don't know what that means, I'm not explaining that this month. That's maybe Bailey, when Bailey gets here, she can explain.
It doesn't feel right.
Have in common.
Anyway, let's play the commercial. This guy's Geronimo or something, whatever he is. He's Geronimo. He's going to tell you about all the stuff. And the reasons you should get stuff for your sex toys from Tracy's dog.
Hey there, I'm Mr. Geronimo, product manager for Tracy's Dog. What is Tracy's Dog? Well, for $50, we send you a high-quality sex toy right to your door. Yeah, $50. Are our toys any good? No. They're f***ing amazing. Yeehaw! Each toy is made with body-safe silicone. We are constantly evolving and innovating our product line. They are built for one thing, to shake your world with orgasms you ain't never seen before. Do you like spending $100 for your sex toy? 80 of it goes to retail. What about bumping into your family while at the sex toy shop? Good taste. Get the pleasure you deserve without broadcasting your secrets. And think of all the money we're going to be saving you.
Apparently he doesn't try the products because he has too much energy for somebody who will be like using the products. You know what I'm saying? Somebody use the products
I disagree with that.
I'm just saying somebody who used the products as a lot would be like crawling.
All right, you guys fight it out. Fight it out. I'll just sit here.
Yeah. No. I think sex can be very invigorating and energizing. Like, listen, when I have really good sex, it just makes me want to have more sex. It gives me more energy. You gotta get me a few hours in before I'm just spent.
Okay.
Like if it's good, if it's not good, then it doesn't do that.
The point is, you said you will reach a point where you're spent. Right.
I mean, eventually.
Yeah,
but maybe he shot this in the morning before sex occurred. You know what I mean? He's looking forward to the sex he's going to have that day.
Did you ever?
That point, I will concede that point. That it's possible they shot that, like when he's had when
his sack was full. When his sack was full.
A week off. Sperm donors have to take a week off. He had to take a week off.
Right, reload, get the boys strong again.
I concede that point, and I stand semi-corrected.
Do you think that guy really works for the company, or is he just an actor that they hired to play?
I'm pretty sure he's a porn star because I'm pretty sure I've seen that guy in something.
He says he's Geronimo. He's like the product manager there.
That's what he said. Yeah, but people say shit in commercials all the time. They're actors.
But then shouldn't it be like a little subtitle thing that says this guy really doesn't work for us? He's just an actor.
people don't do
I
that
mean, they used to have to do that, but like they used to also not let people that worked for a company be a part of a contest, but that totally didn't happen this weekend. I'd tell you that.
That's not a that's only law. That's only contests that are state sanctioned and stuff. If it's like a podunk comedy contest where you're ripping people off anyway.
Hey, why has it got to be podunk? Why's podunk got to come into it?
Okay,
Podunk a real
I'll say
place?
bitch ass then. Podunk was my third choice. You know, I'm just saying that
What's Kelly saying here? I can't see. My eyes are shut.
I live at the corner of is that your sister?
Oh yeah, you know he does look a little like Billy Wayne Davis. I forgot. Yeah,
that is funny. How did you know BWD was Billy Wayne Davis? I'm looking through them going
because it's his show, and we talk about Billy Wayne Davis enough to know that that's who that is.
Yeah, he's a friend. He's a friend, and that's what everybody calls him, BWD. So I knew that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
That's Mind Dog lingo. That's Mind Dog speak right there.
It kind of is.
Wait a minute. So I did not get the Mind Dog to GD dictionary then, because I don't know.
there is no dictionary in existence. You just got to know.
Yeah, you just hang around long enough.
Oh, so you have to like talk
to
Matt
I've
after
been here
the show.
since episode 85.
Did you ever have sex with a cowboy hat on?
With it on? Oh, I thought you were just going to say with the cowboy.
Does it have to be on my scalp? Could it be just on any part of my body? Because that answer is yes. On my head, no.
Oh, that's a little weird.
Were you letting a dude ride your head while you had sex? What? I don't even know.
Then I wouldn't be wearing the hat then.
Well, maybe he was wearing the hat and you were wearing the cowboy as a hat.
But that's not me then.
It's an extension of you.
No guy is an extension of me, ever. Ever.
Oh, well, you just haven't found the right one then.
And I stopped looking. I'm not once I was born, once the doctor pulled me out, I stopped looking.
The other thing is that commercial, if he's walking through the shop, it seems kind of like they don't have a whole lot. It's two tables. I should play the commercial. Two tables, and the stuff is kind of spread out. It's like, is this even a real thing?
Well, yeah, the office of the warehouse doesn't have to be that big.
Right.
Okay. When I made that point a couple of days ago, y'all was like, this is it. The black guy is out of here.
I didn't say that. I mean, we say you're out of here all the time, but not for that reason. No, I mean, it doesn't seem like that's a real store. It seems like all it is a warehouse, or maybe he's even drop shipping some of the stuff. I don't know.
Just going to defer. I'm just going to say, Matt, just defer back to the comments you made when I made those similar observations, and we'll just and think about that. You just think about what you said, young man. You just think about what you just
circle.
Yeah.
What did I say? What did I say?
Hell, if I can remember, you said it so long ago, like 2 days ago. When was
it was yesterday. It was yesterday. They just started advertising yesterday.
I can't remember. That far back. I went to get my hair done yesterday, and the first thing James said to me was, "Oh my God, are there any black hairs left on your head?" That's what he said. Now, when he said black hair, he said black hairs, not black heads. But the sheer fact that it was also the fact that I just watched a video of myself from 5 years ago, and I saw all of this dark, luscious dreads, dark, beautiful, dark hair, and in all that time, that it's just turned white. It just turned white.
That's terrible.
Yes, yes.
The other part about that is I'm wondering, like, what it doesn't really matter, but what part of the country are these people from? It seems, you could say, well, it's a Texas thing, but they seem more, I don't know, Alabama, Mississippi.
I was thinking, I was thinking the deep south part of California.
Oh, that could be
San Diego.
Deep South California, like back near where the rancheros are.
He seemed more like legitimate Eastern Southern, Mississippi, Alabama, kind of really redneck stuff. And that's why it's really the only reason it matters is because I think those people, this is what like the Bible Belt people, I think, and I said this before, like Missouri, Kelly, sorry, Kelly. Missouri is the most conflicted state. They have the most churches and the most porn shops or porn theaters.
Well, it is the show me state.
Yeah.
They either show me Jesus or show me some skin. You know what I mean?
I think that guy's probably somewhere in the Bible Belt. That guy. I don't know. Again, I'm thinking he might be an actor. They just kind of, but somebody must have wrote that script because it is a production.
Yeah, for sure.
Walking. Yeah. Anyway, Tracy's dog. I hope you patronize them, and you know what? Maybe we can stay on the air for another day or something. By the way, we are in the MTA and Long Island Railroad now. The big poster with both of your mugs.
Oh, awesome!
And there's going to be a screen, one of these digital screens in New York City. I'm not sure.
Hell yeah.
I got to find out where it is and go take a little video of it. But it's just showing little clips of the show. And I didn't edit the clips. I just gave them access to the YouTube channel, and they're pulling down clips to include in this.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So they're picking what the commercial is or whatever.
Yeah. And so that will be like in Times Square where thousands and thousands of people walk by every
Get the fuck out of here, bro. Are you kidding me right now?
Yeah. So and that will run until Valentine's Day. So
if you can send me the address, because I want to show up there and take an actual picture of myself.
Right, yeah. As soon as I know, and as soon as I start to feel better, I will make a plan to go there and take some video of it and just shoot it and see if anybody's looking at it. Because my thing is, and why I was reluctant to even get involved in this, I just think people in New York City, you get so much of that stuff that people don't even notice it. It's just like
you don't even. No, that's true. That is true. Especially actual New Yorkers hardly probably notice it. Tourists probably notice it more than anybody because it's shit you don't see where we're from. You know what I mean? But like, bro, that's running until Valentine's Day. It's gonna run till Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Babe, we're going to New York. I don't give a fuck.
Let me know when you. Hopefully, we can coordinate.
Where are you at?
I
think she's upstairs. I'm telling my wife, dude, we're gonna come see that shit. We're gonna come see that shit. I don't know if you know this, but yeah, like I'm a fucking. I grew up in a town of 3,000 people in Podunk, fucking Iowa. Okay,
wait, my face is a real place.
You know what the fuck I'm talking about. Listen, if my face is gonna be on anything in fucking Times Square, my ass is fucking coming to see it.
I think it's more impressive that it's on the trains and because the MTA and those are things where people will notice. You're sitting on the train, that fucking poster's in front of your face the whole time. You got to read it. You're gonna say, "What the fuck is that?" Because you're so bored. I mean, you could either read a book or read the poster in front of you. That's all you can do on the train. Anyway, well, hopefully it will gain us some more traction and that kind of stuff. And if not, this is like a sink or swim moment. I mean, putting a lot of energy into trying to get the word out about the program and grow a little bit. So.
No, that's fucking awesome, bro. I'm so glad you did that. That's fucking beautiful.
Yeah. So today, Bailey Pope is going to be on the show. She's on Apple TV, a show called City on Fire. Are you guys familiar with that?
I'm not.
I don't know anything really about it.
I agree with the post with the flyer for it on the Apple TV because we get Apple TV once in a while, so that we could watch Ted Lasso. Yeah. And then once Ted Lasso stopped, we didn't renew our subscription.
I have Apple TV. I have the old Apple TV, but I never use it because I don't have a TV. I have the old Apple TV box, but it's not really hooked up to anything because I don't have a cable coming in for it or all that stuff. I'm sure it probably works like Wi-Fi or something like that.
So Bailey is also in the Snow Jam Comedy Festival. She'll be coming here to Sioux Falls, and I'm gonna do a show with her on January 20th.
Interesting. I did not know that. That's now because I was going to ask about because she's from New York, and I could see tolerance much better in New York than in places in the Midwest and
Right. Yeah. No.
um,
And to be honest, that's part of why I booked her, because I was like, I would love to see her get another show while she's in town. And so I asked her what her schedule was with the comedy festival, because I had this show happening the same weekend, and if she's and I was able to make my show a little bit later because she's going to be on an earlier show that evening, but the venues are actually not that far apart. And the Full Circle Book Co-op, where the show is going to be, is a really inviting, open atmosphere, very accepting of people. So I knew that Bailey would be a really good pick to put on that show.
very cool. Yeah, it's just interesting to me on how that, because I just one video that I see of her, but I was just wondering how that would play in other parts of the country. I could see New York
Right.
just being fine with it. It's just like I don't want to say
Sioux Falls is pretty liberal, but there are some venues that would be very conservative and not accepting of that. But Full Circle Book Co-op definitely isn't one of those venues. It's a much different crowd there. So
it's so weird because South Dakota is definitely a very conservative state, right?
I mean, yeah, for the most part, especially when you think about the bulk of South Dakotans don't live in Sioux Falls.
Right.
Sioux Falls is the biggest community, and there's only like maybe 250, 280,000 in the greater metropolitan area.
Jesus.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's if you count Sioux Falls and like the 10 towns around it.
Right. Suburbs, we call them in America.
Right, yeah.
There
Where
are
I'm
more
from.
people than that waiting in line at a Starbucks in New York. at any given
Right,
moment.
yeah. But I don't even think South Dakota has 1 million people. I think it's still sitting at like 880,000 or something like that for their population.
Holy
So I
smokes.
mean, but so when you consider that the bulk of people are more like farmers and ranchers, yeah, South Dakota is pretty conservative. But Sioux Falls, especially, is very liberal. Like the city hall has like one of the LGBTQ flags hanging from it. And they have the one that has the white triangle piece in it also, like it's the rainbow flag, but then it's got like that triangle that comes out of the center. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't know.
Um,
No, I'm not big on
But
that.
anyway, within that triangle is a representation of white, which I get pretty upset about, to be honest, because those are people that support pedophilia, as a legitimate like
You mean like the NAMBLA
orientation.
peoples?
Yeah, and so I thought about going to a city hall meeting one time and asking them about that, because like, listen, I don't care if they want to fly a rainbow flag. I got no problem with that community. But when you fly a flag that the message of that flag does indeed support pedophilia as a legitimate fucking sexual orientation, like, fuck no, I don't fucking agree with that. I'm not gonna sit here and say that shit's okay.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I
And
can agree with you on that, but
yeah,
I'm going to say now I'm going to get some hate mail on this, but I'm going to say a lot of the most conservative fucking loudmouths in the social media world, Matt Walsh's, the Charlie Kirk's, and Tim Pool's, support pedophilia to some extent because they believe that a woman who should start having children as soon as she can. Well, as soon as she can be 13 or 14 years old.
could be 11, could be 9,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah, could be
Yeah,
nine.
Like, I think the oldest couple on record is 7 and 8, and from China years ago.
Right.
That was the youngest.
It's a
parent couple.
weird thing where you get all these religious people who talk about that but don't equate it with pedophilia. It's like,
Right.
what are you talking about? What do you think
Because
about the
Trump-
words that are
because
coming out of your
God's
mouth?
law-
Yeah, you're
because
talking about
God's law
fucking
trumps
kids.
man's law. That's what it is. God's law trumps man's law.
Oh, guys, I mean, no, they do say that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And I don't know, to say that is just, in my opinion, is very, what's the word? It's just reckless. It's reckless to even suggest that children should have children. You know what I mean? Like that's not a thing that should be happening, because
Well,
who's raising those children? You know what I mean? And
Well,
what
that's-
happens to that child's life afterwards?
They
You
don't
know what
care
I
about
mean?
Well,
Well, but they,
they do care about it to one extent. You need more babies to send off to war to keep the war.
I mean, that's really what their thing is like they want more fucking fodder for the to feed into the machine.
And cheap labor.
Yeah,
in a lot of these states, I'm coming back to the states' rights, and a lot of these states are passing laws that, for child labor to be allowed to, using kids. Forget which one. It might be Iowa, it might be Idaho. One of the I states wants kids to be able to bartend at 13 years old.
That's fucking insane.
I know.
That's fucking insane. Listen, and I'm going to tell you why that's insane. Okay. So, listen, I know that there's a plethora of things that are wrong with me, and I've been trying to fix those things slowly but surely over the years. And one of the things that I definitely know affected me as a youth is that I spent a lot of my Friday nights in a bar, because my parents, when my dad quit drinking, they went to bingo all the time. And they went to bingo at this Eagles club, and upstairs was bingo hall, and downstairs was this fucking bar. And it was kind of a rough and tumble fucking bar. And, I'm there on a Friday, because like everybody knew my parents, and, they were Eagles club members and stuff like that. So, like, there was kind of this, thing of, everybody knew to kind of look out for the Conway kid or whatever, because I was always running around. I would usually help run food from the bar area upstairs to the bingo hall and stuff like that. And I could make tips doing that or whatever, so everybody kind of knew, hey, this is Big Bill Conway's son. And like, they just kind of let me have the run of the building all night long. And like through the back stairwells and stuff like that. And because I was a kid that spent his time in a bar establishment, like every fucking Friday night of my teen years, I pretty much spent in that bar, in that establishment. And I saw all sorts of shit that a kid shouldn't fucking see. And it desensitized me, and it made me fucking think that, certain standards of behavior were okay that weren't fucking okay. And they certainly weren't okay for a fucking kid. But I was just taking in the world around me, not understanding what kind of fuckery I was really putting in my brain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I spent a lot of my childhood in bars too. The local,
like, it's not something children should be exposed to.
Right. The local beach in my neighborhood would basically there's a bar right on the beach, and I spent most of my childhood hanging out there. My father was an alcoholic, although we just call it a drinker. He never used the word alcoholic, but he spent. I remember my father used to he'd get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to go to work, and his first thing would take a shot at 3 o'clock in the morning.
I know people like that for sure.
He took me to work once. I'll never forget this. And this was days when unions were really powerful, and he was like the head of this baggage workers at American Airlines. And basically he didn't work at all that day. My father taking me to work to see what his day at work was like, and basically he was drinking the whole day, hanging out, and telling other guys to go work for like 5 minutes, but they would come back and just drink and gamble all day. And that was their they were getting paid for that. They were on the, so I got to see all that, but I also got to see him at Cowan's bar at the beach every day and just hammering them down. So yeah, I spent a lot of time. Weird. It's just a weird world we live in now, where they want 13 and 14-year-olds to bartend. Like, wow, what is the upside of that?
That's a bad idea all day.
Also, you're going to complain about people not being able to get work. I think this is the problem, is because there's a shortage of workers now. Unemployment is so low that they can't find qualified workers, so they want to put kids
And
to
they
work.
could if they would just stop chasing off the minorities that used to do some of those jobs. That's part of it. I mean,
what do you mean chasing them off?
Well, like, for example, I think it was Georgia that actually went as far as to make it so difficult that the immigrants, or undocumented workers couldn't work the farms and stuff like that. I have to go back and look at the actual laws, but their prices and shit, things just went crazy. Vegetables and stuff just sat there and started to rot. I'm pretty sure it was Georgia.
Very weird. I didn't know. I don't know anything about any of that stuff, but I do know Nikki Haley. This is the first time I've ever heard a conservative who's running for president, by the way, say that we have to stop calling them criminals. Talking about people, immigrants. Stop calling them criminals. They're just coming here to. She said they're just coming here to try to get a better life, and we need to have respect for them in that sense. That's not something you're going to hear a lot of conservative people say, especially if they're running for office. I'm wondering how that's going to play with.
Right.
But her numbers have been going up. I don't know if you're aware of this. She's only a few points behind Trump in the Republican primaries now.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't like her. I don't like her. I think she's a hypocrite, and I think she's weak. But
yes, and yes, yep.
Karen Laurie. I shouldn't have even said her name. She's an actress who is heavily behind RFQ, and she's just saying all this fluffy stuff about him. He's all about loving kindness and treating people with respect. He's running a civil campaign and all this stuff. And I said, no, I was wrong about this. I said, ask Emily Black about that. And she said, who is that? I said, it's his first wife who committed suicide at his urging. Now, she didn't. She's still alive. But Karen said, oh, that's a made-up story. She said, I've been friends with him for 33 years. I know that she's still alive. And I said, well, that's fine. But if you're friends with him for 33 years and you know this about him, how come you didn't know her name? Who's that? But it turns out Mary Richardson, his second wife, committed suicide at his urging. She was sick. He was cheating on her and trying to force her into menage a trois. She said she was going to kill herself. He said, I want you to do that. She did. She hung herself. But it's just a lot of people. The point I was making about this is that a lot of people behind RFQ or Kennedy, they want to cling on to the name and say, I'm friends with him. I've known him for Mike Binder, who's been on this program, has said this. I've never seen him validate their friendship by saying, yes, I've known Mike. Thank you, Mike. I've known you for, you've been a good friend all these. He's never once, when these people are coming out saying that, I think a lot of people just want to say they were friends with a Kennedy. It's I mean,
probably, I'm sure it's
yeah. But if you say I've known him for 33 years and been good friends with him,
right?
And then, but before that, you said, "Who's that?" And you don't know his first wife's name.
The only Kennedy.
I mean, there's definitely people. I have tons of friends that don't know my first wife's name, like tons of.
I don't know.
I'm gonna to be honest. The only Kennedy that I really wanted to be friends with was Jane Kennedy, and that's it. That's the list. So.
Who's Jane Kennedy?
Oh my gosh! At one point, she was probably considered one of the most beautiful women on the planet.
Really?
At least in my house.
Jayne or
Jayne Kennedy. She used to be a Dean Martin Dingaling girl.
You mean a gold digger?
Oh no, yeah. Dingaling girl. That's what they were called, the Dingalings.
Oh,
his backup singers.
Very pretty, yes.
She gave me money.
Probably not anymore.
No. I don't know if she's alive anymore. Now, her husband was abusive. Her husband used to cheat on her and hit her.
You know what? She has hair like yours now. There's a picture of her now.
Not the mustache I hope not the mustache and beard.
She kind of does look a little bit like you.
Wow.
I think we might have discovered something here. We might be onto something here. I wonder.
Wow.
No. Well, yeah, if she had a beard and mustache on her.
That is for the hearing impaired.
Yep. No wonder you like this. She looks like you. You look in the mirror and you see her.
Well, not back,
bro. You know what?
Not back then, though.
Danica and I were just talking about that last night about how because she was laughing at me because a lot of my friends are just like carbon copies of me. Like they're just like me. They have smart mouths like me. Say fucking smart aleck shit all the time. She's like, you just hang out with different versions of yourself. And I was like, really, babe? Like, do you not remember how many times we've talked about how similar we are? Like, yeah, I hang out with different versions of myself. That's what I do. That's how I function.
Yeah. Prince Andrew is on the list, by the way, the Epstein list.
Yeah.
Oh,
no comment from them about that. It's just
but didn't they kind of do a lot of preemptive?
They did, yeah.
Well, that kind of gets me with the Dershowitz thing too. Dershowitz knew he was going to be on that list. Why did he wait till now to try to make this weird excuse that you're not talking about?
They all knew.
Yeah.
Well, he probably was doing this. Dershowitz was probably going like, okay, I need an excuse. Why was I? Nope, can't do that one. That's what took so long. He was trying to find the best of the worst excuses to explain his behavior. That's what he came up with.
Here's a statement from Dershowitz. I hope Epstein made videos. This is from years ago, from actually July of 2020. He said, I hope Epstein made videos. There have been suggestions that Epstein made secret videos of all the men who had sex in their houses and planes. And I hope he sex in the plane. That would be wild. I hope that he did, and they are all revealed because they will prove that I am not among them. I hereby waive any right to privacy in the Epstein videos. He had to know that there weren't videos when he was saying that.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, you would think though that to cover his own ass, he probably did at least do that as much as he could.
Right.
Yeah, but attorney-client privilege prevents you from recording your attorney from while he's having sex. I think isn't that part of the attorney-client privilege? You don't, if you're the client of the attorney, you don't record them having sex.
I think you probably do. Listen, if you're that far down on the moral totem pole, I don't think you're really giving a fuck about whether or not you're supposed to record your clients. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not really looking for you to be upstanding in other ways if you're giving people children to fuck.
Well, I noticed that Dershowitz did not give the okay to release the stills, just the motion pictures. He didn't give the okay because I'm pretty sure that
spread we did.
He didn't start off with movies. He started off with stills. And then Max, what's her name? Maxine.
Just the promotional materials.
Ghislaine would say, I think we should go from stills to movies. And he would go, and then Epstein went, Maxi Pad, I think you're right. We should use
Maxi Pad. Is that what he calls it for short? Maxi Pad.
Maxi Pad.
That's probably true.
Yeah, because and not for the reason you think, it's because her name, was Maxie, and they used to hang out at the pad.
At the pad, yeah. No, I got it. I get it. Yeah, no, it makes total sense. I like it.
So you call the Maxie Pad.
Ghislaine. I don't know. You put a Z in there.
Ghislaine. Ooh, Ghislaine Maxi Pad. Yeah.
I never heard of a silent Z before. If there's a Z in there, we should say it. Ghislaine. It's Ghislaine Maxwell. She only got 20 years. She was pimping 13-year-old girls off left and right. She got 20 years for that.
Listen, white collar crime pays way it's way better. It's way better. Well, I don't know if that can be considered white collar crime. That's a murky one. That's like white and gray.
Not
So
only
is
that,
that
because
like
I think if the girls were naked, they probably weren't wearing collars at all, and that's probably why they did not know where to place it. They said, "Well, this isn't exactly
right?
white collar crime. It's not blue collar crime because no one's wearing any collars. Those are actually leashes, technically, and not
Oh
right.
yeah, leash
and,
collar
and,
crime.
and leash laws, are totally different than. So yeah, you
I
really have
think
to
I
watch
think
enough
we
episodes of Law
I
and
think
Order
we
to
need
get
to
the
consult
nuances.
animal control.
Right.
Yeah, you have to watch enough episodes of Law and Order to get the nuances between collar, white crime, and leash laws and stuff like that. It's
Somebody,
season
somebody on
6.
Twitter, like last week, was talking about. I forget what he was, what the overall point was, but he said, "Do you know how many millions of people are in prison right now for like one joint or very small amounts of
But
marijuana?"
see,
He
I
said
mean,
millions and millions. I looked it up. It was
that's not true.
245. 245.
Yeah, that's not
Millions
true.
and
Yeah,
millions is
like,
a long way from 245. So anyway,
right.
our guest is here already. So wow, yeah, I think let's play another commercial and then we'll get to meet her in just one moment. I don't want to play. I don't want to play Tracy's dog again. Well, I think once a day is enough of Tracy's dog. Let's go with Daily High Club. What?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, that's
Daily
great.
High Club. Yeah.
With humble East Coast beginnings in 2015, Daily High Club is the premier destination for glass water pipes, vaporizers, and consumption accessories. If you're looking to elevate your smoking game to the next level, you're in the right place. With over 1 million top quality smoking products sold, and with a growing base of over 10,000 monthly subscribers worldwide, we deliver the ultimate smoking experience. But Daily High Club is not just another retailer. We're lovers of the smoking scene ourselves, working with giants like Tommy Chong, Snoop Dogg, Chanel West Coast, and more. Ready to join the Daily High Club? Let our experts curate your collection with our awesome El Primo monthly subscription box. Or grab one of our fun and unique pieces from our smoke shop. Get started today. Visit minddogtv.com and click on the banner on the homepage.
I muted myself here. We have a bunch of I want to say competitors to Daily High Club wanting to be sponsored now. I've never felt this kind of situation where we have potential sponsors that are direct competitors with our current sponsors, and I'm really at a loss for trying to handle that. Like, I hate to reject anybody that wants to send money. I find myself in a uncharted waters, as they say. I don't know. I'm not sure what to do about it, but for now, if anybody wants to sponsor this program, we're open to it.
Yeah,
I'll figure out
we're
the
wide
politics
open.
of it. Yeah. Now you have met Bailey Pope. GD and I have not.
Well, I mean, I've had slight interactions. I wouldn't say met, but yes.
Oh, slight interactions.
Yeah, like online and stuff.
Oh, okay. Now, I'm not the most enlightened guy in the world, but and in her bio it says her pronouns she, her, etc. I'm fine with the she and her. I'm fine with the etc. too, but I'm just wondering what that means because I think I might want to be an etc.
Right.
I want to know why
I'm definitely an etc. I'm sure. I'm
I
very.
would like to know why she went with etc. as opposed to at all. I'm just saying, I'm just wondering because I think at all is like more.
How do I encourage people to call me etc.? Like I'd like to be known as etc. Like not he, him.
I think people use etc. But and I was talking to Matt Napa, etc. Like,
or no, etc. Because you use it in place of the name, so you say he is here now, etc. is here now, which is kind of weird. But anyway, Bailey Pope is a New York-based comedian, writer, and pigeonholed actress, which means she's got really little holes.
Pigeons have small holes, so yeah.
I don't know what pigeonholed means. Like, did somebody actually sticking pigeons in holes?
I think that's New
Get
York
in
for
there, you dumb
typecast.
bird. Providing the overly tattooed, veiled rock star transgender woman comedy that everyone has been searching for centuries for. She's here now. Let's meet Bailey Pope. Good morning.
Good
Wow.
morning.
I am now officially going to change my bio.
Why? I thought
Oh,
I think the
no.
bio is beautiful. I'm just confused about.
I didn't think that everybody read into it so much. I did the etc. because I feel like people actually like I'm a little annoying about the whole queerness, like the
Oh,
pronouns
okay.
and everything. Like I just think it's funny to be like, yeah, like I'm supposed to do that thing.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I guess there's definitely probably I would imagine I know people that would probably identify with etc. and I don't know how to handle that. So
Right. Right.
I'd like to be called an etc.
you're now etc.
All right,
You're
thank
so
you.
brave.
Thank you. I'm brave. Wow, that's the first time I've ever been called brave in my life. The pigeonhole part also. Now, because that I talk about somebody who said there's so many ways to skin a cat. I was like, that's a really ugly cliche. Where did that come from?
I've only found one.
One way to skin a
One
cat.
way to skin a cat.
I hope it was a
there's
feral
more than
cat, not like a pet.
It's not feral anymore.
But pigeonholed, that's a really strange. What does it even mean? Pigeonholed.
Well, I put that on. Well, okay. I mean, I any acting I've done has been I've done bartender so many
Typecast?
times.
Yeah.
Like acting, like screen acting, and so I'm like bartender, tattoo artist. I played a meth head. Which I mean, what else would I play?
Right.
Yeah, so it's more like every time I've been cast, they're like, "You'd be great for the degenerate." I mean, like, perfect.
Well, we have things in common more than people would think just on the surface here, because I have been pigeonholed, typecast as the gangster or
the mob
bad
guy.
guy, or all
I
that
could
kind
see
of
that.
stuff.
I
Whatever.
like that.
So stand-up comedy now. Did that come before acting and writing, or was that
Kind of
all?
all kind of at the same time. The acting was, I mean, it's something I wanted to do when I was like real young, but I never got around to. And I had a kid real young, and so I kind of put off the stand-up and acting until later than most people do. But yeah, it all kind of happened at the same time, partially because a lot of times it's better you get more bookings or like more attention if you have credits so you've been on Hulu or whatever, and just like kind of playing the game a bit.
Now you're going out to South Dakota for the Snow Jam. Is that the Snow Jam Comedy Festival? Is that
I
what?
am, yeah. I'm going out for Snow Jam. I'm actually going to be out there next weekend, separately, in Aberdeen.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Yeah, me and Mark Masters out of Denver. We're gonna do Cheyenne and then Aberdeen.
Wow.
Next weekend.
Now, when you go out as a New York-based comedian, is there any kind of prejudice about the comedy? Because there is whether people realize it or not, there is a East Coast, West Coast kind of comedy thing, like in hip hop, where there's a little bit of tension there, or not tension, but just branding of what East Coast New York comedy is like, Boston comedy is like compared to LA comedy. Do you get any of those kind of prejudice about the kind of comedy that you're going to be delivering?
I would definitely say there's like people are aware that there's a difference between West Coast, East Coast comedy. But I feel like in the same way with hip hop, since you brought that up, is like, they're both good, but you can tell there's just like a little bit of different flavor. But I wouldn't say that there's any like hostility one versus the other than the normal way New Yorkers think that we're better than everybody.
Yeah, nobody's going to get shot or killed like Tupac or Biggie. Or
Not yet. I mean, I'm gonna do my best not to curse. I don't know if that's where.
But
you can say whatever you want.
Oh, all right, fucking great.
Do you change your comedy? Do you change anything about how you deliver it when you go to places in the Midwest or in smaller towns?
No, not really. No, like if I'm going to smaller towns, like usually like I used to do it more. Like I used to just assume that I needed to like do certain kinds of comedy or like tone down like queer stuff or whatever. And it's just like some of my favorite shows have been in like small towns where I thought that I might not be safe. And then it was like sometimes they're the best, most receptive.
Right.
Um
Right.
but
That surprised you.
yeah, and so I stopped assuming that I knew anything about any town that I haven't been to until I
Right.
get there.
Probably
Right.
the best policy. I mean, prejudice comes in a lot of forms, and so you know, I tend to be aware of my own prejudices when I can. But I think that in that instance, I would definitely, you know, I come with a New York attitude, thinking that people in the middle of the country just are just a little bit slower than what I'm used to, and all that kind of stuff. And it's good to just not, or lose that if you can, and understand that, you know, it's not really, it's more in your mind than anything else, and it's just like
Right.
all prejudices.
1000%.
Now,
Yeah,
I had a question real quick. Bailey, in your clip, when your video clip, you mentioned that you're like a true crime
Oh yeah.
addict. Now, in the event that you're, let's say, you fall victim to one of your true crime stories, which tattoo on your body is more likely going to be the one that they use to identify your body?
I
What
mean,
the fuck?
There's no
What
head.
the
So what
fuck kind of
tattoo?
question is that,
wow.
GD? What
he's
the
insane.
fuck?
He's
It's
insane.
a deep question. It's a
Wow.
deep question.
What city do you live in so that I never go perform
Can
there?
avoid that city? Yeah, no fucking kidding, right?
He doesn't live in the
Jesus.
city. He lives in a farm area in
That's
Maryland,
true.
so that explains a lot.
Oh,
Or,
Very
wow.
cool.
well,
Wow.
whichever one you don't cut off my body, I guess. You creep.
Exactly.
My God.
I
My
don't have
God.
a single tattoo. Now
Okay,
you're
no.
the illustrated woman, right? When did that start for you? Very early? Did you like
Yeah,
at a
right.
teenage?
Right at 18. I like as soon as I could get it, like legally anyways. I started getting tattooed right at 18. And it's been a long time.
Is it an unfinished portrait? Like, are you working towards something? Like, are you going to keep getting them when you're old and gray? And
Yeah, I know. I'm still getting tattooed, not as often as I used to. I grew up in California. I started getting tattooed in California. I lived in Kansas City for a couple years before moving to New York, in 2010. But I had
Which Kansas City?
hookups. Casey Mo. That's
Okay.
you know. There's a difference between. I tell people Kansas City, Missouri is a lot of fun, and KCK is where they film Cops. But I had a hookup in KC, where I would do a tattoo, like receptionist hair for free. I'm a hairstylist, and then I would get it tattooed for free. And so
Nice.
probably half of my work is free.
wow.
So yeah, paying
Now,
for it really slows you down.
Yeah,
is it?
yeah, it does. That's why I only have 3.
Now, when people see you like just out and about, and notice your tattoos, they're probably like looking, because you can get lost in some of the artwork there, and just is that uncomfortable, or is that a source of pride for you that people are checking out, reading?
I
would.
think it would be insane to get this tattooed and then be like turned off, like, or like annoyed by people looking at it. It's just like you chose
It
this,
happens.
you know, like
It happens.
yeah. I mean, some people do get annoyed about it. I think that that's unrealistic to get annoyed about it, but my issue is I never know what they're unhappy about. They look at me and there's so many things that they could be uncomfortable about, and so I don't even know. So
Well, I don't know if even uncomfortable or unhappy, because I've seen people, a guy in a bagel place here, was just covered, and I was looking at his tattoos, like thinking about what it took to. First of all, some of the artwork is really top level, like, you know, Picasso type stuff. It's really surprising to see how good some of the tattoo art is. But you're staring at it, and then the guy looks at me and sees me like staring at his tattoo, and now he's angry that I'm staring at it. And I wasn't
Right.
like, I wasn't put off by it. I was just like curious about it, and
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
like, how could you be angry? Like you just said, I think you'd have to be insane. To me, when that reaction when they're angry at me looking at that tattoos, like, why did you bring that artwork out here into public if you didn't want people to look at it and appreciate it?
Right. I agree with you, man. I'm in that same boat because I check out people's tattoos all the fucking time. And me, I don't have great eyes, so I'll fucking get right up close to you. I'll get right up close to your shit and look at the detail. I don't give a fuck. And if you say something to me, I'm gonna look at you like you're stupid.
Right.
You're the fucking because it's like, hey, you're the fucking walking art piece here. Don't get mad at me because I'm fucking viewing, okay?
Yeah.
Like my wife has a tattoo on her shoulder. And every once in a while she'll say, does that bother you? Like, we've been together for like 20 years, and every once she'll still ask me if that bothers me. And I said, no, I'm just disappointed. And the reason why I'm disappointed is because it looks like it should taste like grape. And when you lick it, it just tastes like skin and salt. And it's disappointing. And so I think tattoos should have like flavor when you lick them. I think if it's orange, it should taste like orange.
Bailey, don't judge. Don't judge
tattoos
here.
I was gonna go scratch and sniff.
See that's I think that's sick. I think scratching and sniffing is really that's depraved. Behavior.
That's where we draw the line. Okay.
You should watch Marilyn Manson's Dance of the Dope Hats video, and that would probably be very pleasing to you. Because the wallpaper, the boys taste like boys and the girls taste like girls.
Jesus Christ.
In that video.
Wow. Those are tattoos, though, are they?
I mean, no.
Yeah,
no.
No. If I want to taste a real person,
that wallpaper is probably like tattoo transfers. Remember?
Now, you're taking this conversation in a really, really dark place. I'm not sure I can go there.
I don't usually let these guys just take over the show like this, but I'm a little under the weather. I just want you to know that.
I heard they were representing you verbatim.
All right. City on Fire, is that a regular recurring role for you?
No, it was 2 different episodes where I was like featured background, and then I literally just watched it like 2 weeks ago, and they cut my line. I had one interaction with the lead of this show that's like a like the rock and like punk like rock scene in the early 2000s in New York, so I should just take that because I was supposed to be on it more, but that's kind of the nature of everything. Anything where you're not like a lead, chances are you probably won't see you in the end. I'm waiting for like a Hulu thing that's coming out, and I'll see if it's worth using as a credit after the edit.
Right.
Now, is that does it anger you when they cut your line, or what's the emotion that comes when you find out that they've done that?
That Apple TV one specifically, I went into it without going to I wasn't going to have any lines at all. And so when I was on set and they liked my look and they thought I'd be good as the bartender, it was a bartender that interacted in this one spot. And so it was like kind of like I was getting something that I wasn't planning already. And so when it didn't turn out in the end, so I was just like, I can't be mad about that.
Right. Yeah. No. The reason it even occurred to me this morning, I was going through some YouTube stuff, and there's a professor of rock talking about Barry McGuire had actually written or was part of the writing for California Dreamin', one of the biggest hits of the Mamas and Papas, and was in the recording session, one of the main vocalists on that. And when the hit came out, he found out he was completely erased from the track, and he was livid, angry about it, and became a great hit, and he made lots of money off it. But he still carries a lot of resentment to this day of what, you cut me out of that without even telling me you were going to do that. Because I would think but if I were on a television show and I tell my friends, watch that, and then you're expecting
that's definitely something I'm learning like currently because of that Apple TV one specifically. I'm just like, I'll just wait and to see. Like I did an HBO thing last year, and it finally came out maybe 2 months ago, and I'm not in it. You don't even see my face. And I did like a full on like probably 5-minute like interview questions with the host. And but it was like a thing where sometimes shows will use comics in the city as like man on the street kind of interviews. because they just
Mhm.
know that we can like think on our feet. And
Right.
Right.
so they do a bunch of comics and they try to pick whichever one fits the flow of the show. And
Wow.
so
Right.
I've
I
filmed a
was
lot of things, and a lot of it never comes out.
I was digitally erased from all of my family movies. All of our family vacation. I was digitally erased. Talk about hurt feelings.
Nobody can blame them
I
except
was
you. Uh,
I was taken off of the sand scrolls. They took me off of those.
Oh, I heard
w-
about that.
We didn't have the fancy cameras and stuff. We just had to take the etchings off of stone.
well, with
Like
GD, they probably thought it was Jane Kennedy, and what's she doing with a beard and mustache? And get her out.
Oh man,
I'm so,
Jane
I'm
Kennedy.
sorry.
She was that was my poster girl back when I was an adolescent male.
That would be a little bit weird if I, had a poster girl that, in the end, when we got
ended up
old,
looking like you.
yes,
First
I've
of
been in
all,
love with myself all this time.
well, I am. I did not
Hey,
know that she was going to look. First of all, I don't. I'm taking your word that that's what she looks like because I have not seen it.
All right.
It's like it's like the comedian that kept calling me Billy Ocean, and I don't know what Billy Ocean looks like now. And then turns out,
No, he
so
definitely does look a little. He doesn't have the dreads, but he's got gray hair. Yeah, you definitely have a.
So it's just a black guy with gray hair.
I guess that's all it takes.
Yeah,
That's a low bar.
yeah.
Yeah. My God.
Yeah. No,
me
no.
and Morgan Freeman.
Tell me about the writing, because you've been published writing. Are you writing screenplays? Are you writing like articles for online public?
It's typically just like articles that are like input on like like there's sites like Hard Times or Onion and those kind of sites where they're constantly getting you can like kind of submit satire or like articles and that kind of thing. Sometimes you're just writing like tags to things. So it's a lot of like contribution to like fuller pieces where you're part of a team that is all pulled together at times.
How do
That's
you get
all like little
started in that?
one-offs.
I mean, how does that come to be? Somebody calls you and says we need a contribution.
Nobody ever calls. Nobody ever calls.
Are you
anything.
answering freelance ads or?
It's mainly like when you're just getting to know people. I mean, it's easier when you're in New York and it's like every comic has it has a friend that you wish you had, or like everybody's got connections, and it's just like little by little, like somebody's, oh, I'm writing this thing. I contributed this thing. I was like, oh, like, do you have somebody I could submit to? And it's usually just those little one-off connections. I don't think I've ever gotten a writing thing like through nobody's called me. And it's not even ads, it's usually just through people.
Wow.
Okay.
Comedy in New York. Now, I'm under the impression that most of the time in New York, you're performing for tourists. Yes or no?
No, not really. It really depends on like which clubs, like if you're at a club like in Midtown, sure. But like a lot of the shows are in Brooklyn or in Queens, and like I don't know if you've heard, there's a lot of people who live here.
Yeah. There
And
are, yeah.
yeah, so
Uh,
it's like a lot of depending on where you're at, like if you're in the Village, it'd probably be like half and half. I do Grizzly Pear a lot lately, and that's probably 60, 70% tourists, because it's usually people who go to the cellar, can't get into the cellar because it's sold out or whatever, and so they come see me instead, which
right.
that's kind of a bummer. But
Well, I can relate to that in a little bit, because I've done a lot of what we call screamers in the music business, where especially in the old days, where they would hire one orchestra company would hire people would go to hire a band for a wedding, but that band would be overbooked, and then they would send you to something else that a different band was at a showcase for that got hired, and they call them screamers because the bride's mother would always be screaming at you. Those kind of things. That's got to be the toughest gig, is when you're getting people who were expecting to go see I don't know, you name it, whoever, Dave Chappelle.
Sure.
He's not at the Comedy Cellar. Mark Norman, let's say. They're going out for an evening to see Mark Norman or Joe List, and then they're at another place. They're already coming in with a bad attitude, and it's your job to now make them laugh and forget their bad attitude.
Definitely.
Yeah, but I mean that sets you up in a unique position to show them a little some. You know what I mean? Like honestly,
if you're given a chance. Sometimes the audience is really, really, really against you, and you can put your best material, and they just don't want to hear the shit.
Right.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of a mixed bag. Like if people are coming, going to the cellar, they're already like actually like comedy fans. They're trying to go to like the top place, you know? And I think that partially like tourists can kind of be easy because they think that if you're a comedian in New York City, then you must be famous and you just haven't heard of me yet.
Yeah.
And that's definitely not true. But like, we have so many comics at all different levels, and but you know, it's still New York City, and we do have to it's trial by fire here. So you do have to be good enough to stick around.
Yeah. In comedy in general, I think it's not like rock stars where even if you're not into that person's music, you know the name, where they are famous to a extent where people who are not necessarily tuned into pop music, if you name a pop star, oh yeah, I know them. But with comedy, I mean, I've run into this where people don't know who Bill Burr is. I bet you I could call somebody right now who doesn't know the name Dave Chappelle. People who don't know Sebastian Maniscalco. These are people who are selling out arenas, and a lot of people never even heard the name. They don't know him. It's very weird. Comedy is just just that oversaturated, or that it's just that much of a niche thing for fans.
Well, it's really subjective.
Yeah.
It is, and it's funny too. Like Nate Bargatze was like just finally like on SNL recently, and like I feel like that's the real way that anybody's finally going to know who he is. But he's been incredible for over a decade,
Years.
and he's like been full time making like a really good living for a long time. And but it takes like something super mainstream for people to know the name at all.
Right.
Yeah. It's really weird. On that note, when I was young and trying to be a rock star and trying to get, I would purposely not listen to what was happening on the radio because I didn't want to sound like other people. Do you listen to other comics and kind of, not necessarily try to take influence from it, or do you purposely like not listen to other comics because you don't want to be influenced?
Yeah, I mean, there's times where I like have to stay away from like listening to any like bigger names because I don't want to like start, biting style accidentally or anything like that. But I mean, as a comic, especially at my level where it's like you're still like really grinding to just try to get more spots and stuff, and like you're around comics every single night. You hear other people's material every single night. I still go to open mics as well. And so like I hear so much comedy that I'm not typically looking to listen to more when I'm like driving or something like that.
Right, yeah. It's just dawned on me that a couple of times you talked about levels, and you are very aware of what your level is. I talk to people all the time about, I am a club level musician at this point in my life. I mean, and I gave up the idea of being anything more than a club level musician. But I find in comedy, especially, people aren't even aware of the levels and what level they're at. A lot of time you get a lot of
For
people
sure.
they're just either they're open micers who think they're like headliners, or you get people who don't even consider like the steps that you need to take in your career and where those levels are. And I think sometimes people find shame in settling on a place like I have settled as a club level musician, that you could be a local comedian and work the East Coast and have a good life in that, but they want more or something,
Well, and it's kind of like there's I mean, like being a club musician, like you could be somebody who gets to perform and has audience 3, 4, 5 times in a week,
Right.
and that's better than somebody who thinks that they only do arenas, but it's like once a month. And
Right.
it's just like, I don't know which one is better, and is there one that's better? And like, so I think that some people, like especially in New York, some people would just prefer to never leave the city, and they're always booked here in the city. I like doing a lot of road work. I like meeting other kinds of people and not just New Yorkers. And I like traveling. I mean, just as by itself. But I think that I would rather be like experiencing other scenes and being around comics that are different than me. I am a trans woman, and so a lot of times people think that I only do like queer comedy and I only do like super, whatever, very woke stuff or whatever. I'm just a comic who happens to be trans, and I liked getting out of the city, and so like being on the road is a whole different thing than being really big in New York. If I'm on the
Right.
road, then people forget about you in New York. So if I'm on the road for a month,
That's
then I look like I'm like an open micer again when I get back to town.
Did Kelly just call me a narcissist? Narcissist much? I thought that was Will's problem. Is
I
she
have
talking
no
about me?
idea. I
Say
was
all of
confused
us.
about it as well. Maybe.
I don't know what that means. I'm offended, Kelly, and
But once I'm glad that somebody's not talking about me.
well, maybe she was.
If it's
You're
about
gonna have
me,
to
I
make
feel
that more
seen.
clear. I don't. Yeah, because I don't think any of us know what she meant by that.
Right.
Because I'm confused by it too.
Yeah.
GD. Okay.
It
She meant
sounds like
GD, I guess.
you really because a lot of people, especially in LA, not necessarily in New York or
Yes.
people all get into comedy not necessarily in love with comedy.
Sure.
They basically see it as a stepping stone to something else. It sounds like you really really love the craft. Yes.
Oh my God. Yeah. If I could just do stand up every night for the rest of my life and just scratch by, I would be ecstatic. I still have a day job, and that's kind of helps me finance looking like I'm succeeding in comedy. Um,
No
I
shame in that, and this is I think people need to get over the idea of shame in that because, and I'm not saying you have it, but I think there are a lot of people they're ashamed to admit that I still keep a day job. I do whatever. To me, I was always the side thing, and I kind of talked about that yesterday when I was young. I worked for the government, and it was a really low paying job. And a counselor said to me, you can't do that." I said, "I don't want to get a real job. I want to be able to still do what I love, and this is the job
Right.
that affords me the ability to keep performing and still have a steady income behind it." You know
For
what I mean?
sure. I
Yeah.
wanna look forward to next week. And, like, if I'm just doing something because it pays well, I'm not gonna I could think forward that I still have to do this job that pays well next week. I'm not looking forward to next week. But,
Right.
like, if I have a job that allows me to continue doing comedy and I'm gonna go to Cheyenne and Aberdeen, I'm going to, uh, Sioux Falls and Chicago and everything within the next month, I look forward to next week, and so, like, I think that having a day job, really isn't, a bad thing if it allows you to move in the
The
direction that you want
flexibility.
it to. I
All
think
right.
that if something's keeping you from actually, pursuing
I don't
something that
know.
you care
Yeah.
about, that's
I don't know
important.
if you're comfortable going here. I was kind of hesitant to ask you about this stuff. Don Sill, who has put up a shut up with Don Sill on Governor's Radio Network. Maybe I missed it, but what are your thoughts on Chappelle? The whole anti-trans stuff thing.
Yeah, I mean, I am disappointed by it, really, just because I've been a big Chappelle fan, like, growing up. He's, like, so talented that I just in one very reductive way, I just feel like he's wasting his time on something that's, like, I don't know, I don't see why
Right.
he's using his talent to be this way about one
Right.
people group that are already, like, oppressed in a one specific way. It's like you have talent. We've seen it for over 10, 15, almost 20 years, I guess. Yeah, over 20 years. And it's just kind of wasted talent. And
Yeah.
that's a very reductive way of talking about how I feel about it. But I just miss him being as good as I know he can
I
be. I don't
posted
think he's
something
doing it
the
right
other
now.
day. Do you because I took Inside the Actor Studio when he first left the Chappelle Show? He did Inside the Actor Studio, and I posted a thing. Do you miss this Dave Chappelle? He was a different person then, and I think he evolved into something that is. I think there's a lot of fear. I want to say, what hurt you? Who hurt you? Did a trans person kind of rape you in some way, or
Right.
take your manhood away from you, steal your own identity in this kind of way? Because it seems like he's changed. And listen, as comedians change, as their careers go on, and you reach that kind of level, it's not uncommon to reach the Carlin level where you're not really concerned about funny anymore. You want to show the world how smart you are and what you know.
Yeah.
And I think he's fallen into that trap. So a lot of his specials are not really filled with funny anymore. But
Yeah.
something happened to him to change his perspective on just basic human dignity and stuff.
Yeah, I feel like there's so many different comedians that do this where they like start to maybe they don't realize that they're just looking for clapture. Like I'm not like are you a comic still? Because if you want to do TED Talks, like just call it TED Talk.
Right.
But
Right.
like
Right.
you have the talent to write incredible material, and you didn't always have to like tear down another group that's got their own
Right.
struggles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I yeah, I don't know. It's disappointing. That's
To
just
be fair, it's not just comedians. It's musicians, actors, anybody. When you reach a certain level, you feel like you've earned a bigger voice, or you want to show you want to be a spokesperson for the things you believe in, and
Right.
sometimes you can get carried away. And if the things you believe in are negative about people, you're really gonna cause a lot of controversy. Big part of that, though, is success now is built on negativity. It's
it's
almost like
true.
people gravitate towards saying the most outrageous thing to get the most attention. And who cares how many people hate me as long as enough money keeps coming in, enough people keep buying seats at my shows. It's a really dangerous trap. But it's not just comedians. It's everywhere. You see it in musicians. You see it in actors. These people who just become outspoken and forget about what they do. And that there's enough influence in what you do. I saw it in John Lennon too. I mean, basically, he went from being a rock and roll guy to a guy who saw himself as a prophet. And it's a danger that I think being lifted up by the public in like put on a pedestal, that can happen to you. And it's a vocational hazard. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. It feels like anybody that's like in a public like limelight or whatever, in public sphere, you have to be polarizing to get any traction. And anybody that's got like a rational, like any sort
Viewpoint.
of middle ground at all,
Yeah.
then is just like not interesting enough to air, or it
Right.
doesn't go
Right.
viral or whatever. It
You're
has
too
to be
plain.
super polarized views and takes
Right.
that go viral.
Now everybody in the world, well, not everybody, but comedians, and we'll talk about levels because I think you're at this level where you start to do specials and stuff, and they call them specials. And how can it be special if everybody's doing it? I get that. But the hour-long show where, and some of it, I'm going to be quite frank here, some of it, the content is great, but the production value and the production aesthetics of it are really poor. But everybody feels like they need to do this. What is your take on people feeling like I got to put out a special? It's,
Yeah, I have a lot of friends that are, constantly, there's somebody recording their special at least every other week, I feel like right now. And
Right.
I don't have any problem with it. It's not how I feel. I don't I'm not rushing to put anything out, but we do like, I think in music and in comedy and acting and everything, like content is so disposable now. People
Right.
just fly through
Right.
it and they're like, okay, when's you, okay, that was a good hour. Do you have another one yet? And
Right.
she's like, dude,
Yeah.
go fuck yourself. Like it takes so long to create. And you know, you think about like how musicians have to put out singles now. Like albums are not the way that music goes out in as much as it used to, at least. And it's because everybody just wants something now and they want it. And like you have to put out singles just so you can spread out the attention.
Right.
Yeah.
And part of it's interesting that we're calling content the reels and the shorts. I think are training people to be even more. You got what else you got type of thing, but we're calling that
Right.
content. But there's absolutely no substance to it. And I know I am super guilty of it when I'm
Same.
putting out reels every day to promote this show. It's 30 seconds to 50 seconds of stuff, and people get an idea of okay. That I don't know what I just watched, but they want to comment on it and judge you on it, and it's called content, but there's no substance to it. It's why are we even calling it content? It's just garbage.
It's just something to occupy your eyeballs, you know, and it's like it's so disposable. And that's why crowd work's gotten so popular is like we're pressured to put out clips so often that like
Yeah.
you know, you didn't write 5 jokes this week like that are worth posting, so you're just gonna ask somebody what they do for work, and somehow that's
Right.
content, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And the stuff about the music stuff in singles that is definitely troubling to me because there are some pieces of music and in my era, of course, there was a lot of pieces of music that were meant to be consumed as a package. Like there were themes to stuff and
Totally.
there were songs that went together for a specific reason to set whatever emotion that you wanted to invoke in people. We've
Right.
lost that completely. If we're just going to go one song at a time, there's no chance of really doing anything really meaningful.
No more Pinball Wizard.
Well, oh,
Because
but
that was a rock opera.
No, yeah.
Nice
Just like
callback. Yeah.
concept albums and everything, like just like
Yeah.
telling a full story. It's like, you know, people will watch you know, 8 episodes of a series, but they won't watch a movie.
Right. Yeah. They will binge watch something for a week.
Yeah.
I just because you're not familiar with GD doesn't know anything about comedy, so I'm going to explain to him what you just did was a callback. It's known as a callback to an earlier thing we were
Wow.
talking about. So glad to
Okay.
educate you on that.
GD,
Now,
I just
what-
want to apologize
Now,
again.
are
for getting
callbacks
this
supposed to be
started.
funny, or are they just
They
a
don't have to be,
retrospective?
but
Yeah, no,
in the best of all
it-
worlds, they should
it
be.
just
It's
ties
funniest when we
everything
all
in.
talk about it and explain it though, because that's where it
Yeah.
really gets funny.
When you have
Okay,
to
so-
explain it, yeah.
Got you. Okay. I'm learning about comedy one bad callback at a time.
You're doing great.
Oh God.
And in a
Oh.
sense, just saying that you don't know anything about comedy is a callback to Will telling you don't know anything about comedy.
That's not what I said, though. That is contextually inaccurate.
I don't know. My heart still bleeds at that.
Aw.
I'm still hurt.
Oh, I
mean,
bet it does. I bet it
it-
does
it
bleed.
really-
It only
really-
bleeds
it
because you
really-
pick at it every day. You won't
it
stop
really-
picking.
it really hurts me to think that of the 4 people on this show right now, Bailey is the one who likes me most, and she doesn't even know me.
That's
Well, that would include you, who doesn't like you.
No, I don't like me.
right.
I love
Right, he
me.
doesn't like himself.
You
I
said
love
4,
me,
and you.
but I don't like me. I
All
love
right.
me, but I don't like me. I'm trying to improve me because I don't know anything about comedy.
You know
let's-
what?
if
Me
we
and my
could keep
wife
this-
had that discussion yesterday. She said, "I love you." I said, "I know you love me, but why don't you like me?"
Whoa. Yeah, well,
We had
that's
a good laugh about it. I was kidding. It's all right.
all right. Now, Bailey, in your bio, and I'm not even sure how often you know read your bio. Most
Oh,
people put
yes.
stuff on, right? It says something about working with people like Roy Wood Jr. and
Sure.
Maria Bamford. Now, Maria Bamford, she's an enigma to
One of
me.
my
But
favorite comedians ever.
did, did you get to actually spend some time with her and get
Yeah.
to know her a little bit?
Just backstage,
Yeah.
I first met her last year in Traverse City, at the Traverse City Comedy Festival, and then she's been here a bit this year, and she's incredible. I mean, she just thinks a bit about comedy differently. Have you guys ever seen? There's a documentary called "The Comedians of Comedy." Um, it was like Patton Oswalt, Maria Bamford, Brian Posehn, Zach Galifianakis, and they're basically all just weirdos that did like a weirdo trip together, and
Nice.
it was just like younger Maria, and like you kind of see like her process and stuff, and yeah, she's wild. She's
Yeah.
super sweet.
I
But
love
hasn't
her.
her
And
process changed because if she got with her diagnoses and so forth? Has her process changed over the years?
That's a good question. I don't know that much about her process in a real way, other than the fact that like she's always been pretty open about her mental health.
Right.
And so it's always been sort of part of her material, and she's like talked about it. She had Lady Dynamite was a TV show that she had for a while,
Right.
and it was a lot about her mental health and just relationships and how she related with people. And so I don't know about the process changing as much as it's just become something that she's sees as beneficial talking about. But a lot of her material is just like super honest.
Yeah.
She's working on material right now about money, basically about like how people are uncomfortable talking about money, and how her experience being in the comedy world, where it's insane what we'll do and not do based on money, or really what we will do, because like I mean I've done shows in Pittsburgh. It's like 6-hour drive for $75, and that's dumb, and I know that, but I would do it again,
Yeah.
partially
Yeah.
because it's a gig, it's a chance to get seen by more people and meet, more importantly, honestly, is meet other people that do comedy and care about comedy.
Right.
that's the thing. Yeah, that highlights that what I said before. You have to really love the craft and be in it for the experience. And of course, the money is it is important. But at the end of the day, you're getting a chance to ply your craft and possibly make some new diehard fans or loyal fans and all of that stuff. So, as
Yeah.
much as it's about the money, it's not all about the money.
For sure. And
Yeah.
like, I come from in my bio I do say like failed rock star. Like I played music when I was younger. And I was like in metal bands and stuff like that.
Nice.
And I actually got kicked out of my last band when I found out that my daughter I was going to be having a kid. And they were like, "Well, you're not gonna be able to tour." And so before I was able to record my vocals at this studio, they were like, "Well, we shouldn't record you because you're not gonna be able to tour." And so that was the last band I was in. And
Wow.
but coming from the band world, I remember paying. I was like the band that would pay basically to be on the lineup with a big band,
Right.
Right.
and like I've always been used to like knowing that it's about connections, it's about like
Yeah.
getting seen. It's like sometimes it's an investment doesn't work. I played the Whiskey a Go Go with As I Lay Dying and Integrity, and like those shows cost me 880 was the Integrity, and 980 was to play with As I Lay Dying. And
Wow.
I did not get $1,000 worth of exposure out of either one of them. That's for sure.
I was spoiled
Oh,
by coming up in an age where it wasn't pay per play. You basically got opportunities to open for other bands based on your draw and all that kind of stuff, but you were never asked to put up money to open for
Well, I
somebody.
should say we were supposed to sell tickets. And
Right,
so like we were responsible for, 40 tickets or, whatever.
right, yeah, yeah. No,
we got
I
to
get it.
say goodbye to Gubs.
Oh yeah, thank